All right, let's dive right in. Something huge is happening with ChatGPT, one of the most popular AI tools on the planet. It looks like OpenAI is starting a brand new chapter, and it all really boils down to a single fundamental question, one that could change how all of us use AI.
So, what's the real price of free? I mean, what does it actually cost when a service this powerful is given to hundreds of millions of people for nothing? It's a question that's been kind of hanging over the whole AI world for a while now, and OpenAI is finally giving us an answer.
And yeah, you guessed it, that answer is ads. It's official. OpenAI is starting to test advertising right inside of ChatGPT. This is a massive move, and it's all designed to solve the giant financial puzzle of running a free, world-class AI service.
So let's get into it. How is this actually going to roll out? Well, this is not some big global launch. Not yet anyway. Think of it more as a very specific, carefully controlled experiment. And that brings us to the first really important detail. Who exactly is going to start seeing these ads?
OpenAI is being super strategic here. For now, ads will only show up for logged-in adult users, and only in the US. And it's just for folks on the free tier and the lower-cost Go tier. But you know what's really telling? It's who's not seeing ads. All the pro, business, enterprise, and education users. They're being kept in a completely ad-free zone, which, well, that tells you a whole lot about OpenAI's business model, doesn't it?
And that leads us straight to the big why. I mean, why would you introduce ads into a platform that's famous for its clean, simple, uninterrupted interface? Well, the answer really comes down to the absolutely staggering scale of the whole operation.
We have to remember, ChatGPT isn't some little niche tool. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people all over the world using it for everything, drafting emails, helping with homework, even making huge life decisions. The raw computing power it takes to support that level of interaction is just mind-boggling and incredibly expensive.
So this really gets to the heart of the problem, right? On one hand, you have the immense cost of all those servers, all that infrastructure. And on the other, you have OpenAI's mission to keep this thing accessible to as many people as possible. Ads, in their model, are basically the bridge that's supposed to connect those two worlds.
Of course, the second you put the words ads and AI together, alarm bells start going off, right? Questions about trust and privacy, they just pop up immediately. OpenAI knows this, they're not naive, and they've laid out some very clear ground rules for how this system is going to operate.
To tackle those concerns right up front, OpenAI is building this whole thing on two fundamental promises. First up, answer independence. That means ads will have zero influence on what ChatGPT tells you. And second, conversation privacy. Basically, your chats are your business, and they will not be shared with advertisers. Period.
Let's dig into that first promise a little deeper. OpenAI is making it crystal clear that the AI's main job, to be helpful and accurate, is completely separate from the ad system. The two are designed to run on parallel tracks, so one can't mess with the other.
And on the privacy side, this is the really crucial part. Advertisers are not getting a peek into your chats. They're not going to see your personal details. All they get is what's called aggregated performance data. Stuff like how many people saw an ad or clicked on it, with absolutely zero personal information attached.
So you might be wondering, how are the ads targeted? Well, they're matched to the topic of your current conversation and your past chats. But, and this is super important, they will always be clearly labeled as sponsored and kept visually separate from the AI's actual answer, so there's no way to get them confused.
OpenAI is also putting up some pretty important safety guardrails. Ads won't be shown to anyone under 18, and they'll be blocked completely from popping up in conversations about sensitive topics like health, mental health, or politics. Okay, now this is where it gets personal. This whole system isn't just something that happens to you. OpenAI is actually giving you a whole set of tools so you can actively manage your experience with these ads.
So what's in this ad toolkit? Well, first, you can just dismiss any ad you don't feel like seeing. You can also give direct feedback to help them make the system better. You have full control to manage your personalization settings whenever you want. And maybe most importantly, you can delete all of your ad data with a single tap.
But what if you're thinking, I just don't want ads at all? Well, you have a couple of really clear options. The most obvious one is to just upgrade to a paid tier like Pro, which stays completely ad-free. But if you want to stick with the free tier, you can opt out of personalized ads. But there's a trade-off. You'll get a lower limit on your daily messages.
So, look, this is just the beginning. This initial test in the US is really just the first step on a much longer road for ads inside of AI.
So what does that road actually look like?
Well, the plan is to be slow and deliberate. Step 1 is this limited test in the US to just get that initial data. Step 2 is all about listening, gathering user feedback, seeing what's working and what isn't. And only after all that comes step 3, evolving the system to make sure ads actually feel useful before they even think about a wider expansion.
And this all brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? Is this the future for all AI? Because what we're seeing with ChatGPT isn't just about one company. It really could be the blueprint for the entire industry. Are we about to step into an era where our access to powerful AI is funded by our attention? This test is just the first step. And honestly, the results are probably going to shape the future of AI for every single one of us.